It is great to have the return of I Am Atomic, the Chuny Wonderland. Of course, Eminence and Shadows Season 2. Episode 1 is here. We are finally back. Honestly, quicker than I ever thought because I knew there wasn't a ridiculous amount of material out there. But hey, that didn't stop the production committee from getting another core of this made. And this is going to be fantastic. Not only did we get pretty much everything we more or less expected from this show in this episode, they also set the stage for a couple of fun additions like Mary the Vampire Hunter, who honestly, based on Sid's reaction, I think he just found his Chuny goddess, and just the idea of the team-ups, whether that is Mary or with Claire, who thought her brother was dead only to toss that poor fool away, or the numerous ridiculous funny moments or badass moments. This was a fantastic return, and I think anyone who loves Season 1, based on what I just saw with the first episode, they're gonna love Season 2 as well. Full live reaction, though, to this wonderful episode is available on my Patreon if you would like to see that. It's over there if you're interested. This was definitely one of my more anticipated ones because, especially if you followed me when I was covering Season 1, you knew how much I enjoyed talking about it, and just right away, I missed the show, right? Like, even if I was a little fuzzy on some of the Season 1 details just because it's been a couple of seasons, right? I was very much getting caught up rather quickly as soon as I saw characters, or in the case of Sid giving that fantastic recap. I think this recap is only second to Kill la Kill's recap, which I think is just untouched in terms of how they handled recap there, because Sid just kind of being like, yeah, this happened, then oh yeah, here we are, is probably the most nonchalant, brilliant way a person who thinks everything is just a game could ever explain the events leading up to this as he gets dragged by the collar by his sister. There's a particular moment, though, in this episode that I feel like no one's going to talk about other than me, and of course I have to bring that up. So, of course, we start this episode off with two people trying to throw hands with pretty much the jail dog of the vampires, right? This dude takes off his shirt, and one arm's gone, chained up to the castle, and you knew he was going to kick these two's asses. However, what I wasn't expecting was for Sid to casually discover them locked up as basically slaves being sold off in a slave market. Doesn't really remember them, thinks he recognizes them, and of course, he pulls them towards the cage. That hurts, and he doesn't recognize him. But there's a particular moment with the other one where he's upside down, and he's off the ground, like this much or something. His dong's pretty much hitting the roof by the looks of it, and I can't quite tell how the hell he's levitating as he's pulled like this. But that's what I love about Eminence and Shadow. Sometimes things don't need to make sense. Sometimes you just look at things and you say, what? And then they just move on to the next scene. And that's part of the whiplash charm of almost the situational comedy that this show does deliver. And what this episode needed to do was establish the main arc in question, and this is vampires, which is really cool because essentially we're kind of dealing with a zombie outbreak and the awakening of the Blood Queen, right? So we more or less have ghouls, which pretty much act very similar to that of a zombie, and in the case of this, a zombie outbreak. So once someone gets bit, they turn in, and it's a plague, right? Like, we start off with one, and then by the end of the episode, the whole, pleasure district is just completely swarmed, right? Which is, of course, amazing for a character like Sid, because this is just his Chuny wet dream, which, honestly, he couldn't get enough of. And I like the idea that we have a couple of interesting situations going on here. Of course, right now, one that I'm very interested in is Claire as well as Mary, who more or less are teaming up, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, because they both are rather badass, but of course, they also think Sid needs rescuing, when, of course, we know Sid is currently having the time of his life, just going and basically having a three-way battle here. So we have this Fox lady, we have Muscular Joe, and then of course we have Sid, and it's just all hell's breaking loose. There is a ridiculous amount of characters, and whether it's the simple moments like the group literally spraying their deodorant on when Sid says something smells because, well, they want to make sure that's not their stench, to the badass moments where characters are just jumping through windows and body parts are flying left and right. This show is such a whiplash, and at times is just the most ridiculous parody, and then at other points you're just like, damn, this story's actually rather fascinating. And this feels exactly like Season 1. They didn't miss a beat, they just jumped right back in, and I honestly miss seeing all of the ridiculousness that we just experienced. I was actually rather impressed with the OST in this episode. I don't really know how to explain this one track. I think it's brand new. I think it's around the middle portion, give or take, but there's almost a franticness, this kind of someone's I don't know, a gun to their head playing a violin or something, just very they're missing notes. It was just such a different style feeling of music, and it really was rather amazing. I was like, okay, that's actually one of the more interesting tracks I've heard from this show. And when it came to, I think, the opening, based on, I assume it's the opening, I doubt that was the ending at the end there. That was really cool. I liked what they did. Honestly, the male singer in this song, like, it kind of felt like he was singing in a way similar to how, like, a female artist would perform a song, and I say that as a compliment. It just made it kind of pop out in an interesting way, and just in general, I kind of find myself like, okay, I remember in season 1, I liked how it looked. I thought it was a rather consistent 2-core, but like with any 2-core anime production, with how many animes made, there's not enough staff to go around. You do notice more dips when it's a back-to-back 2-core versus a split core, or in the case of having maybe even an entire year between seasons. And the fact that this is going to be a 1-season show, we're not getting 20 episodes, I think we're getting 12 here. The idea that they won't have to really rush production at any point, I think we are in safe hands to have a very consistent, if not the most consistent season or set of episodes that the Eminence Shadow has ever seen. And hopefully, based on when this ends, we'll be able to maybe keep on doing maybe 1-core seasons at a fairly consistent pace, maybe every couple of years or something, or maybe they'll somehow find a way to do it even sooner than that. I don't know. But either way, they brought us back. They showed us every single character you could imagine, new characters, old characters, and the idea that Sid, despite really not having that much screen time, he still manages to navigate through this world and be the center of attention. Claire just casually dragging his ass through the streets and then mourning her dead brother only to just be like, wait, that's not my brother, and just tossing this poor fool's head away. Or kicking this dude was like having a prostitute or something, and then it's trying to eat him, and then she just kicks the head off, and he goes from being scared of the zombie trying to kill him to then hugging the headless corpse because, this woman be cray-cray, and he wanted nothing to do with it. It was fun, man. It made me happy. 20 minutes flies by when you watch Eminence in Shadow. Like, this is one of those shows that I could easily watch at least 100 episodes of, just because the cast dynamic, the ridiculousness, sometimes it's parody, sometimes it's dead serious, but for Sid, just looking at a sea of just zombies, or in the case of what they're calling them, ghouls, just start swarming at him, he sits there just going, this is very interesting. I really like the play that we're experiencing right here, as then someone has to come in thinking some dumb fool's about to get his head cut off and needs saving. This is so fucking fantastic. I can't get enough of this show. My excitement is getting that through. Literally, I don't even think there's a specific thing I want to see this season. I just want more of the same, more of the ridiculousness, the badass moments, and the absolute whiplash of comedy as people are naked slapping up against prison gates to then just being his friends, the 2 friends at the pleasure districts, thinking they're finally going to become a man only to be running the hell out of there. Comedy gold. Thoughts and feelings yourself though down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. And like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon if you're interested. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Joseph Sokov, Ert Swanson, Jesus Sakdo, Aiden, Luke Bodani, and BSSB. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.